Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Wentworth Life. Now this video is going to be slightly different. I've wanted to do it for a very long time. Basically, I wanted to create a bumper video for all of you guys to watch before the new season begins. Now in this video, I'm going to be giving my final thoughts and predictions on every single character for this final season. To mix it all up a bit, I'm going to be responding to some of your questions that you have put forward to me. Not only that, but I'm going to be getting Peter, my other half, to answer some of your questions too. I'm also going to be showing you a little bit of behind the scenes of what goes into making a YouTube video for Wentworth Life. And of course, it wouldn't be a Wentworth Life video without a big, juicy spoiler. So grab yourselves a drink and get yourselves comfy, and let's talk Wentworth. Right then guys, let's get this show on the road. Now, I just started making this video and 3 people have literally just sent me over a screenshot of the first episode description released by Foxtel. Huge shout out to Liam Griffiths, Tracy CV and Joan Ferguson for sending these over to me. Your timing is perfect. So what does this article say? Season 8 episode 11, Rogue. This season begins 3 weeks after the shivving of Ali. Maury enlists Sheila's help to take out Lou with tragic unforeseen consequences. Wow, so I wasn't expecting to read that. Anyway, I think we all guessed that Maury and Sheila were going to work together, and it's no surprise that they want to get Lou Kelly away from Reb Keen. Maury and Sheila will have their own agenda about this. I mean, for example, Maury just wants Reb away from Lou because she thinks that Lou has too much of a grip on Reb, whereas Sheila wants to get rid of Lou because Lou is stopping Reb from giving Sheila an alibi about all those deaths at the retreat. But as the description says, it's all going to end in tragic circumstances, which of course I think could be pointing towards Reb's death. Now, I came up with a theory on how I think Reb could die, and it's posted in my previous video, so I'm not going to talk too much about it here. However, what I did want to take from my theory is that I don't think Reb's death is just going to be a simple, straightforward death scene. There is definitely going to be a twist, and even though the article is pointing towards Maury and Sheila being responsible for this, I think something else will happen in between, and it's going to shock us all. Great little article there, and thanks again guys for sending that over. Right then guys, have you seen this? So on Tuesday the 17th of August on Fox Showcase, there is going to be an hour-long program dedicated to Wentworth, and it's hosted by the amazing Pamela Rabe. As you can see, there is going to be cast interviews, behind the scene footage, and also exclusive never before seen footage. Oh my god, this is going to be an hour of heaven. Now of course this is going to be airing in Australia, but don't worry guys, hopefully it will be uploaded to Foxtel's YouTube page or Facebook page not long after it is aired, so the rest of us can then see it. But what I'm excited about the most is the exclusive never before seen footage. Now this got me thinking, maybe, and I mean this is a big maybe, they are going to show us the deleted ending scenes from season 7. Do you remember when some of the original Prisoner Cell Block H stars made a cameo in Teal, and we also had this deleted scene of Bridget and Frankie meeting baby Grace? Maybe we are finally going to get to see these deleted scenes from season 7. I mean, I really hope so. But mark it in your diaries guys, Wentworth Unlocked, Tuesday the 17th of August. Just as I've been making this video, apparently if you live in Australia and you have an app called Foxtel First, I'm not sure what it is, something to do with Foxtel, but it's an app. I don't know if it's something you pay for, certain members, but if you have this app, you can watch this documentary right now, you lucky buggers. Right there, now we are going to move on to a juicy spoiler that I have promised for you. There should be a spoiler warning somewhere on the screen right now, so this is your warning. Don't worry, it's not as big as the Reb Keen spoiler, but nevertheless, it's very interesting. So according to username Attention Compound, there is going to be a brilliant death scene at the end of episode 2. This was posted over on Reddit by Attention Compound, and I just have to say that this username Attention Compound is extremely credible when it comes to spoilers. It was Attention Compound who leaked those episodes last week, the ones that are coming up in episode 1. Not only that, but last year Attention Compound also had an Instagram account and was posting photos from upcoming episodes each week. Trust me on this one, guys, the person behind this username knows what they are talking about. So as you can see, Attention Compound does confirm the death scene for Reb, which of course we all kind of knew anyway, but at least we've got confirmation. But who is going to die by the end of episode 2? I wonder. Well, I have two people in mind. In my opinion, it will either be Sheila or it could be Ruby. So let's speculate about Sheila first. So it has been confirmed in a Wentworth Zoom chat that Sheila isn't going to be in a lot of episodes in this final season. So that puts Sheila high up on this spot. If you're wondering how I know that, then all you gotta do is go back to the video where my friend Sean is having a chat with Anne Reynolds, aka Jane Hall. Then it's Jane Hall that actually says this in her Zoom chat, that Sheila isn't in a lot of episodes this year. Now, I've recently noticed that in a lot of these trailers, Sheila is looking very sad or very stressed out, like something is really wrong. Now, if it is Sheila who dies at the end of episode 2, then she will either kill herself or Lou will murder her. Now, as much as I'd like to think that maybe Lou Kelly will kill her, I have a stronger feeling that Sheila might actually kill herself after Reb's death. Because as we've learned from Foxtel's article, Mari and Sheila are going to be working together to try and get rid of Lou Kelly, and Reb was going to be Sheila's ticket out of the prison if Reb did give Sheila an alibi. But if Reb is dead, then Sheila's chances of ever getting out of prison have gone. And let's face it, Sheila is facing mass murder charges, so it really wouldn't surprise me that Sheila will end up topping herself. And the fact that Attention Compound says that it's a brilliant death scene makes me think that this isn't going to be just a slashing of the wrists or a throat slice. In one of the trailers, we see Sheila ripping up a bed sheet, so maybe she is going to hang herself, but maybe she'll do it in front of the women in the yard, or maybe she will climb onto the roof, put the noose around her neck, look down into the yard, and she will spot Lou Kelly and look into Lou Kelly's eyes from the distance, and then Sheila will jump with the rope around her neck. Now that would be a brilliant death scene. I mean, it's brutal but brilliant. However, the second person who I think could die is Ruby Mitchell. Now, Ruby isn't seen very much in the trailers, just like Reb, so that could be a clue. I definitely think Ruby will die this season just to completely send Rita over the edge, but saying that, I think Ruby's death scene could just come completely out of the blue. I was thinking, Ruby is due for parole soon, so if this final season returns 3 weeks later, then surely Ruby should be close to getting out of Wentworth by now. Maybe on the day of her release, Ruby will say all her goodbyes and have a real tearjerker moment with her sister Rita. And as Ruby leaves the prison, a car comes roaring down the road and purposely runs over Ruby before driving off. I mean, this would be a shocking death scene, but it would create a lot of questions of who did it, who set this up, and is this payback against Rita? If this were to happen, then this could explain this scene with Mari, as Mari would probably get the blame. Now don't forget, guys, these are just my ideas and theories, so don't take this as gospel, but I think this brilliant death scene at the end of episode 2, it's either going to be Sheila or Ruby, but what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments box below. And also a huge shout out to Attention Compound for always giving us preview photos and credible spoilers. Right then, guys, so it's time for a little bit of Q&A, only because I asked all of you guys to send me some questions that I will answer in this video. Now, I got quite a lot of questions, but most of them basically I can answer with Peter, but some of the questions seem to be more directed towards me, like Peter wouldn't really be able to answer one, a very small handful of these questions. So I thought at this stage of the video I will answer those small handful of questions, and then we will quickly move on to my final predictions on every character. So I'm just going to start with J.Marsh29. Now, most of these profiles, guys, you're all on Instagram. So he asked me 2 questions, but they kind of combine into one. So he says, where do you come up with all these spot-on theories, Craig? And will you continue Wentworth life after the show has ended? Well, thank you for your question, J Marsh. And where do I come up with these theories? I haven't got a clue. I think far too much about Wentworth. Naughty. No, I do think a lot about Wentworth, especially when the new season is getting closer and closer and we start getting photos and trailers. My brain goes into overdrive, and I'll be honest with you, most of the time I'm not spot on. I'm close sometimes. I think I've been spot on once or twice. I think my famous spot on prediction was Kaz being murdered and it being a whodunit. That was probably my famous one. But apart from that, sometimes I'm not even close, to be honest. And I mean, the theories I come up with, a lot of the time, they're things that I would love to see in the show. So yeah, I'm just probably too much of a daydreamer when I'm having a bath or a shower. And will I continue Wentworth life after the show has ended? 100%. I get asked that question a lot, and there's a few more questions I'm going to be answering in just a moment. But yeah, Wentworth life will be going nowhere. It'll be staying put, and I will still be uploading Wentworth content for you guys. Okay, next question. xalways.b.tryin. When will the season come out on Netflix? Thank you for your question. That is a question that gets asked a lot on the YouTube comments box. I see it asked on Facebook. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know any more than you do. However, if I was to take a guess, just looking back at the last years of Wentworth coming over onto US Netflix, because I'm assuming you're talking about the US Netflix, and they usually release the whole season on Netflix the day after it's finished on Foxtel Australia. So if I was to guess, it's probably going to be the same again this year. And we got bsmith.wentworth, and again, this is a very similar question. Please tell me you're going to continue your YouTube channel after the final season finishes. 100% yes, I will be. Thank you for your question. We then have Danielle XOXO97. Hey Danielle, what will you be doing when Wentworth is over in terms of YouTube? Well, I will be continuing this channel, and I will be continuing to build my personal YouTube channel, and I will be continuing my horror YouTube channel. If you haven't seen them, guys, go and take a look. And this is pretty much the same answer I've got for, I'm just going to try and pronounce it, Scarlet the Spy 212. What are you going to do with your channel when Wentworth has finished? The channel is going to continue. I can 100% promise you. I don't want to reveal too much what I'm going to be posting, because I kind of want it to be a little bit of a surprise for you. Plus, I don't like to plan that far ahead, because I mean, Wentworth isn't going to be finishing until October. So, but I have got ideas. I've got things written down in books, and when Wentworth does start coming to the end, heaven forbid, then I'll be scheduling a few videos. So a lot of the videos that I do, I schedule well in advance, so you've got nothing to worry about. I've got another question here, but I can't see the username, I'm very sorry. But it says, what other TV shows do you like? Well, I have a bit of a weird fascination about women's prison dramas. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you guys have the same obsession as me, but I loved Prisoner Cell Block H, which is what Wentworth is based on. And I also love Bad Girls, which is the UK prison drama. And guys, if you've never seen Bad Girls but you love Wentworth, I'm telling you now, as soon as Wentworth finishes, go and watch Bad Girls. It's on Amazon Prime. Bad Girls used to literally be my #1 prison show until Wentworth came. That's how good Bad Girls is. Go and watch it. Aside from that, I pretty much just watch the UK TV soaps. And out of all the soaps, EastEnders is my favourite, because I remember watching it from such a young age and it stuck with me, so I'm just a huge fan of EastEnders. Do you have any other YouTube channels? And I'm really sorry I haven't got your username in this screenshot, but you'll know who you are. And yes, I do. So I have obviously this one, and this is my biggest one. And I have my personal YouTube channel, which is just a very small channel. I just like to post things on there for memories, really. And I've started maybe a few months ago a horror channel. It's called CRAIGz, so Craig with a Z on the end, and it's just really me doing random top 10 lists of scary stuff, like ghosts and horror films and serial killers, and because I'm really into that type of thing. Like, I love horror, I love watching serial killer documentaries, and I love all the weird conspiracy things going on in the world. So I've just started doing like a top 10 video just to keep me busy in between Wentworth. So if you haven't been on that channel, go and take a look. Actually, I'll leave both links underneath here to my personal channel and my horror channel. Go check it out, guys. Go on, give me a sub. And final question for this part of the video is from Let's Get Fit 2016. I need to get fit. I got a belly. Anyway, what made you start a YouTube channel? Very good question. So as I've said, I've had a personal YouTube channel for a very long time, and it's for memories, really. I mean, don't want to put a bit of a downer on this video, but unfortunately I've lost a lot of family members through death. I've lost my mum, I've lost my sister, I've lost my best friend, and one of the comforts that I have after losing them is having so many photos and videos. I am that annoying friend that you take on a night out that takes like 100 photos and videos, but do you know what? I'm so glad I did, because I've got so many memories of anyone who's passed away in my life. I have tons of memories. So for me, I have a bit of a philosophy in life. I may not be here this time tomorrow or this time next week, so if I was to leave this earth anytime soon, I want to leave behind memories for my friends, for my family, and for my fiance Peter. I want there to be loads of videos of me everywhere. I want there to be loads of photos of me everywhere. Why not? Do you know what? Life is for living and it's for sharing. So that's why I started my personal YouTube channel. And what made me start Wentworth Life, I suppose, is back in the day, I used to watch Game of Thrones, and there were YouTube channels of people doing episode reviews and spoiler reviews and trailers and things like that, and I thought I would love there to be people doing this, but for Wentworth. And I thought to myself, why don't I just start doing it? Just for a laugh, just to see how it goes. And I tell you what, guys, if you go back to some of my really early videos, they are absolutely shit. They are awful, but I've kept them there because you can see how much I've grown and how much this channel on YouTube has grown. So that's what made me start, really. There wasn't really much content of Wentworth apart from people uploading video clips, but not many people talking about Wentworth, and that's why I started doing it. So. And I'm really happy to now realise that we've got Michelle doing her YouTube stuff, which is outstanding. And somebody messaged me recently, I can't remember your username, but I'm going to stick it on this video now in writing. You should be able to see it here somewhere. But you recently sent me an email saying that you posted your first Wentworth video, and you mentioned me and you mentioned Michelle, so thank you for doing that, and your video is really awesome, so keep doing it, please. I'm interested in hearing your theories. I will leave a link to this guy's YouTube channel underneath this video. So guys, that's all the questions for this part of the video. It's now time to move on to my final predictions on every single character in this season. Just before we jump into my final predictions, literally as I've been filming today, these new photos have surfaced. Now I believe these have been taken from the Wentworth Unlocked documentary that's available for Australian fans, and it showed some small previews of what's to come. So in the first photo we have Eve Wilder, who is apparently a force to be reckoned with. Underneath that photo we have Ferguson looking very smug with herself, but if you look closely it doesn't look like she's in prison uniform, so either she is on her way to court or she's had her charges dropped and she's on the outside. What do you guys think? The photo next to Eve Wilder is Lou Kelly laying in bed looking absolutely traumatized. I guess this will be Lou's grief after Reb's death, and of course she is 100% going on the warpath after this. And then we have Ferguson and Sheila, which is interesting because if Mari and Sheila are supposed to be working together to try and take down Lou Kelly, where does Ferguson fit in? Maybe it's Ferguson who'll be the one to kill Reb. Oh my god, so many questions, but what do you think of these new photos, guys? I cannot wait to see this documentary. I hope it gets uploaded somewhere soon because I seriously need to see this. Also, there is this behind the scenes photo that has just been uploaded of Mari Winter in the shower block, and she has got blood on both of her hands. So something big is going down in the shower block. Maybe it's Mari who ends up killing Sheila in episode 2. Wow. So many things are coming out as I am making this video. It's sending my brain into overdrive. Actually, it wouldn't surprise me if more photos get uploaded before I finish filming this, so if I were you guys, I would stick around. But guys, let me know in the comments box below, why do you think Mari has blood on her hands? Right then, it's time for my final predictions for Wentworth's last ever season. Mari Winter arrived in season 6, and this is going to be her 4th season with us. So Mari, I find quite an interesting character. She arrived as a crime matriarch and was responsible for the big Wentworth siege. Her character did a huge turnaround last year after she had some sort of dream epiphany with her dead son Danny, and she no longer wants to kill Ruby. Unfortunately, after the siege, pretty much everyone hates Mari Winter, so Lou Kelly, she's been instructed by Anne Reynolds to look after her. Now, my final predictions on Mari is that I don't think that she is going to have a happy ending. We've seen in one of the trailers of Mari being hanged in the shower block, although I do not think this is going to be her death scene. I think Mari will be found in time, or the officers will stop the hanging before it finishes. You see, I think Mari would love to regain the respect of Ali and the rest of Ali's crew, but I just can't see them ever forgetting about what Mari put them through. With Mari, I do feel sorry for her. I know I really shouldn't, but I do. You can see that she is genuinely sorry for what happened during this siege, and by all accounts, she doesn't want to kill Ruby anymore. However, there is always something about Mari that I can never put my finger on. Even if she is sorry for everything, it doesn't mean that she isn't still dangerous. Those urges could come back at any time, and I mean, we've already learned today that Mari is going to work with Sheila to try and get rid of Lou Kelly, and she also has that rat poison from last season. So as much as I do feel sorry for Mari, I don't 100% trust her. Now, how do I think Mari's story will end? Well, I definitely think that Mari is 100% going to be on death's list, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of this death list as I go on with other characters, guys. So I think Mari will have a tragic ending. However, I would like to think that Mari will die trying to protect someone, either Ali or even Ruby. How ironic would it be if Mari dies protecting the very woman she's wanted dead for the last 4 years? Will Jackson. Oh, Mr. Jackson, you've been with us from the start and it's been a very bumpy ride. So we've seen clips that Ferguson has a dream of stabbing Will in the yard, but will Ferguson actually try and carry out an execution on Mr. Jackson this year? Well, I do have a strong feeling that Ferguson's going to try something. Mr. Jackson and Joan, they've got major history together, not only from the time where he took away Gianna's baby, but Will was also the person who buried Ferguson alive. So there has to be some sort of showdown between these two. I'm not necessarily meaning that they need to have a huge fight scene. I mean, I'd like to see it happen, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a fight. I mean, these two, they just need to have some sort of face-off, alone time together in somewhere in the prison to properly air their differences, because there's a lot of dirty laundry there between these two. I'm not 100% sure that Mr. Jackson will remain as governor, well, not for the full season. Let's face it, he is really holding on to that job by the skin of his teeth. And with these deaths that are happening in episodes 1 and episode 2, I can't see Will remaining on as governor for the full season. But Vera won't want to lose Will altogether. I reckon that if Mr. Jackson is removed from governor, Vera will probably go to Anne and make her keep Will on as a senior officer. But of course, who will get the governor's chair? Well, this will lead me smoothly on to Linda Miles in just a moment, but before I do, I am not going to put Will on the death list. Shock horror. I actually think there might be a different ending for Mr. Jackson. I think either he will end up in jail, and we may even see Mr. Jackson going into prison and come in face to face with Channing, or we might even get a happy ending for Will. Maybe during Mr. Jackson's final scene, he will go to B. Smith's grave, and he will tell B that we did it. We finally got rid of the freak. I really miss you, B. That would be such a lush moment if he went with this sort of ending for his character, because let's face it, some of them have to have some sort of happy ending. Linda Miles. So, Linda is another one who has been with us from the very first season. So, after this siege, Linda has turned into this tough new officer and she's basically been beating some of the women with that baton. Now, we've learned that Linda has PTSD after the siege, which is why she's so jumpy. But last season, Linda also teamed up with Anne Reynolds, and I think this could be a very dangerous move for Linda. Linda wants that governor's chair, and I think even Anne would like to put Linda in the chair. So this year, it wouldn't surprise me if Linda and Anne work together to remove Will from that governor's chair to put Linda there. But just as I mentioned, I think there's a good chance that Will lose his governor's post because of the deaths that we've got coming up. But I do think Vera will try and save him and get Anne to keep him on as officer, but then Linda will be Wentworth's new governor because she's currently deputy. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm secretly hoping that this happens. Even if it's short-lived, I'd love to see Linda in that governor's chair. It would be really interesting to see what kind of governor she would be like. However, the more I think about it, it would really be Anne Reynolds in that chair, because Anne Reynolds will be pulling Linda's strings, let's face it. And with the both of them being so strict with discipline, this could be something that pushes the whole prison over the edge, and this could spark off an already boiling prison into a huge prison riot. Another thing that I think could happen with Linda is that she might actually go too far with that bloody baton and actually kill a prisoner. Remember when she smashed Ferguson in the head last year during the LSD trip? I mean, Jesus Christ. How Ferguson didn't get her memory back there and then, I don't even know, because that was one hell of a crack on the head. So Linda might go too far this year and then end up on the wrong side of the bars. Also, in the trailer, we see Linda run into Reb Keen's cell door in a little bit of a panic. Could Linda have something to do with Reb's death that we've got coming up in episode 1? I mean, if she does, then Luke Kelly will be coming after you, Linda, so you best run fast. So how do I think Linda's storyline will end? Well, I have a feeling that Linda is going to get to that point of no return this year, and I think she'll either be killed off in the final episode, or she will end up arrested and sent to prison. Either way, it's going to be a tragic end for our Linda Miles, so I'm going to put Linda on the 50-50 death mark on the lists, because I think it could go either way. Jake Stewart, Jake the Snake. He arrived in season 4 and this is going to be his 6th season with us. Who would have thought that Jake would have lasted this long? I mean, I think if Ferguson hadn't been buried alive, or if she'd come back a bit earlier, then I don't think Jake would have made it this far. So Jake has seemed to have turned over a new leaf over the last 2 seasons. However, there was a moment last year when Jake did go to the hospital and try and kill Ferguson. So his killer instinct is still there when it comes to protecting baby Grace and Vera and of course himself. Jake will do anything to protect his daughter and Vera. However, Jake is no match for Ferguson, and if Ferguson decides to get up and fight dirty, then Jake has no hope. I think Jake is going to be in for a rough ride along with his work buddies. Now, I don't think Jake is totally bad. I mean, he's someone who makes really stupid decisions and mistakes, and it gets him into a lot of trouble, but he isn't your typical evil villain. And believe it or not, a lot of us do like Jake. I mean, I disliked him at the start, but he's grown on me. He's done this big turnaround and I like Jake now. Don't get me wrong, he is a bit snivelly, but I do like Jake's character. So how do I think Jake's story will end? Well, I definitely think Jake will end up crossing a few lines this year, and it wouldn't actually surprise me if Vera teams up with him, because Vera's been crossing her own lines recently, but a little bit more on that later. But I have a feeling Jake might end up on Death's list this year. I don't think there is anywhere left for this character to go now. I feel like Jake has just come full circle, but with the freak getting freaky this year, I have to put Jake onto Death's list. Boomer Jenkins, the lovable Boomer. She's been with us from day one, and she's been through a hell of a lot over the last 9 years. We all love Boomer now, but when she was first introduced, she was just Frankie's heavy. And even though these days Boomer is on the right team and has a heap of friends, Boomer is tough. So when the new season begins, Ali decides to make Boomer top dog. And I think this year we are going to see some of that season 1 Boomer come back. Boomer isn't going to mess around this year when she's calling the shots, and I think after Ali being stabbed, this is the final straw for Boomer. She's lost so many people. Now, we've seen in some trailers that Boomer and Lou are going to have a fight scene in the laundry. Now, this has been a long time coming, and it's going to be a brilliant fight scene because these two hate each other. However, on this occasion, I do feel that Lou Kelly will topple Boomer in this top dog fight, and that will be the end of Boomer's reign. But what I would really love is for Boomer and Lou Kelly to realise that they both have a common enemy, Judy Bryant. Judy stabbed Ali, and Judy also stole the money. So I'm hoping that when they both realise this, they will stop fighting each other and team up by getting the Judy bitch. Do you know what I mean? It just makes sense. I'm also wondering where this Gavin storyline is going to go. It must mean something because they wouldn't have introduced it in last year's season. Maybe Gavin will help Boomer escape or something? I don't know. Whatever happens, I just hope Boomer gets a happy ending because she really deserves it. And as I said earlier, some characters have to have some sort of decent happy ending, and I really hope Boomer is one of them. Ali Novak, another character who has been through it. Ali arrived in season 4, and this will be her 6th season with us. So after Ali was stabbed by Judy Bryant last year, Ali is going to return to the prison 3 weeks later. But she's coming back in a wheelchair after the doctors tell her that she is paralysed. As I said earlier, Ali is going to make Boomer top dog because she can no longer take the reins. Now, even though Ali is going to be in a wheelchair, in some of the trailers, Ali is still looking badass. In the scene where Mari is being hanged, Mari is screaming out no to Ali, so Ali is still definitely in the game. Now, I think Ali is definitely going to have her struggles mentally in her wheelchair this year, and we're going to have some emotional scenes with her character. But as I've previously said, I would love Ali to have a dream about B-Smith, and that will give Ali some strength to continue. But let's just talk about whether if Ali is actually going to learn about her true attacker. So when Ali opened her eyes, she saw Lou Kelly standing over her, but it wasn't Lou, it was Judy. So Ali is going to think that it was Lou Kelly who attacked her, but Ali has to find out the truth eventually. And once again, when she does, her and Lou Kelly, they're both gonna have a common enemy. I think this could get a lot of them working together to try and get rid of bitch Judy. But who will be the one to dish out the final punishment? This leads me on to Judy Bryant, but just before I do, I am going to place Ali on the 50-50 mark on Death's list. I think it could go either way. It will either end with Ali getting some sort of happy ending, maybe she will take some final steps in her final moments and the women will clap for her, or Ali is going to die a tragic death and her beloved B-Smith will come and get her. So I'm 50-50 on this one. Right then, Judy Bryant. She arrived last year in Season 8 Part 1, and this is going to be Judy's 2nd season with us. So Judy is the one to watch, a huge troublemaker who has caused a lot of trouble in a very short space of time. Now, as we all know, Judy stabbed Ali last year because Ali found Judy with Lou and Reb's phone, which also had their money. Judy promised Ali she was going to give the phone and money back, but of course she didn't. Judy carried out an assassination and used Lou and Reb's money to do it before destroying the phone. So when Judy realises that Ali isn't dead, Judy is going to be a little bit worried when Ali comes back and realises that Judy didn't return the phone or the money. It wouldn't take Ali long to realise that it was Judy who then set up the assassination, but I have a feeling Judy may talk her way out of it somehow. We've seen in the trailer that Judy runs at Lou Kelly saying this is for Ali and tries to attack her, and in another trailer we see Judy kissing Ali's face. So Judy is really going to paint herself as a loyal follower to Ali in order to avoid any suspicion. But I definitely think things will unravel for Judy and her time will definitely come. Judy doesn't just have to worry about the women though, because she also has to be worried about Anne Reynolds. Now Anne Reynolds hates Judy because Judy is a terrorist, and in one of the trailers we have seen Anne beating Judy in a boiler room while Judy is chained to something. I definitely think Judy and Anne are going to have a proper showdown this year. Now, if you haven't watched the original Prisoner Cell Block H, well, there is a huge Lou Kelly riot that happens in episode 600, and during this riot, Lou forces Rita and Ferguson to fight to the death. Now I reckon if we do have a big Lou Kelly riot in Wentworth this year and the women manage to grab Anne and take her as a hostage, it wouldn't surprise me if this scene is reimagined but with Judy Bryant and Anne Reynolds, and they will be forced to fight in front of the women where the winner has to kill the loser. How brilliant would that be? I am 100% going to put Judy Bryant on death's list. She has to die, no question. Not only for what she's done to Ali, but I have a feeling Miss Judy Bryant is going to be doing a few other awful things this year. So Judy is 100% going on to death's list. Anne Reynolds. She arrived in season 8 part 1 and this will be her second season with us. So Anne Reynolds is a tough general manager who likes to play dirty and not always by the rules. The character has no interest in the prisoner's welfare, she's only interested in money and profits for the prison. We learnt last year that Anne lost her daughter in a terrorist attack in London, so this might explain why Anne has this tough image. This could also be why Anne and Linda Miles get on so well. It wouldn't surprise me it may be Anne Reynolds actually has PTSD herself. However, this doesn't excuse some of her behaviour. So I think this year we are going to see a much more stricter version of Anne, who is definitely going to break a lot more rules. She likes the prison to run like a machine, but of course there are a few troublemakers in there like Judy Bryant causing mayhem. Anne will use anyone she likes, but at the moment she is using Lou Kelly to look after the protection inmates, and Anne has promised to get Reb his operation. But I've said this for a long time and I do think Anne Reynolds is going to double cross Lou Kelly, and this will send Lou into nuclear modes, but a little bit more on that later. Anne Reynolds is also a little bit of a slag because we saw her shagging a guy up against the wall last year, and she also tried it on with Mr. Jackson, but luckily Mr. Jackson refused her advances. But it wouldn't surprise me if Anne tries it on with maybe Jake the Snake this year. You never know, maybe she'll do it behind Vera's back. I mean, Jake is probably more likely to go there rather than Will, but of course Anne will probably have her own agenda for doing so we'll just have to wait and see. I do think though that we might get some sort of terrorist attack at the prison in the form of an explosion, and Anne Reynolds will be there right in the middle of it, and it will bring back all those awful memories. It wouldn't surprise me if Anne finds out that Judy was part of the same terrorist gang who killed her daughter in London, and then can you imagine if my prediction about Anne being forced to fight Judy during a riot? It will be a proper bitch fight, and I am going to put Anne Reynolds in the 50-50 mark on death's list. I mean, I would probably prefer Anne to lose her job, lose her career, rather than have her die. I think that will hurt her more, but again, I can't call it on this one, so I'm going to put it on the 50-50 mark, and we'll just have to wait and see. Ruby Mitchell and Rita Connors. So these two come as a pair as far as I'm concerned. They both arrived in season 6 and this will be their 4th season in the show. So when we left season 8 part 1 last year, Rita was on the run and Ruby's parole was getting closer. So when the new season begins, Rita is still on the outside after seeing this photo leak. But I do think it's going to be very short-lived and Rita will be back in Wentworth before we know it. Ruby's parole must be coming up very soon, and as I've said earlier on in this video, it wouldn't surprise me if Ruby is killed on the day of her release, which of course will send Rita crazy. It's really sad, but I do think Ruby has to die. This will give us the monster character side of Rita. She will be a force that's unstoppable. We've seen how much of a good fighter that Rita is, and apart from the time when she killed Drago, Rita has only ever really fought when it's to protect herself or Ruby. But with Ruby out of the picture, now we will have the real Rita corners. In my opinion, Rita is the only character at this stage capable of being a strong and good top dog. However, Rita does have a big secret. She used to be an undercover cop, and I have an awful feeling that it may get leaked out, probably by Bitchface and Reynolds. I think when Rita first comes back to Wentworth, Lou Kelly will hear about Rita's reputation, and Lou will want to teach Rita a lesson. So I think this is what's happening here in this fight scene in the yard. I think it's Lou and her crew trying to teach Rita a lesson, but I do think Rita, she will turn the tables and beat the crap out of Lou Kelly's crew. This will then form a dangerous war between Rita and Lou, and somewhere in that mix is also Joan Ferguson. Now, the big fight scene that I do want to see is a huge fight between Rita and Ferguson. Can you just imagine how big this fight scene will be? They are both very strong women. Rita beat a prisoner to death with her fists, and Joan is able to snap necks with her bare hands. I mean, this would be an incredible fight scene. And if Joan has anything to do with Ruby getting killed, then this fight scene will be signed, sealed and delivered. Maybe when Rita does come back to Wentworth, Vera will ask Rita to spy on Ferguson, and Ferguson will get back at Rita by killing Ruby, and then the fireworks will begin. With Rita, I'm not going to put her on death's list. I think Rita will get into a lot of fights this year, and she may even come very close to death. But I think Rita will survive, and hopefully Rita will be crowned top dog in the final. As for Ruby, I'm very sorry Ruby, but I'm sticking you on death's list. Lou Kelly and Reb Key. Now once again, these two come as a pair, both arrived last season, and this year it is their second season. However, we are in for some tragic scenes this year, as an early spoiler revealed that Reb Keen is going to be murdered in the very first episode. Now nobody knows how Reb is going to die, it's all guesswork and theories, and we won't know until the episode airs, but it's definitely going to be huge and tragic, as CRAIGz has said in an interview that the new season begins with a punch to the guts. So with Reb dying so early on in the season, what does this mean for Lou Kelly? Well, Lou is gonna go on the warpath. We've been hearing about how dangerous Lou Kelly really is all of last season, but Reb was always there to calm Lou down. Now with Reb out of the picture, there is nobody to calm Lou down, and all hell is going to break loose. As we've seen in this photo, Lou looks destroyed, but what's fantastic about CRAIGz is that even though her whole world is destroyed, and you can see how broken she is in her face, but you can also see the anger in the face as well. And that is what's going to be so dangerous for everyone at Wentworth. We've seen in another trailer that Lou decides to declare herself as top dog in the dining room after screaming, "You did nothing," in Boomer's face. I do believe Lou will be top dog, and I think she will be terrifying. If you're not on Lou's team, then watch out, girls. The only thorn that I think is going to be in Lou Kelly's side is Rita, when Rita returns to the prison. But Lou is going to pretty much cause so much damage in that prison after Reb's death. We are all going to be on the edge of our seats. We've seen some crazy things in the trailer, like the women throwing someone in a bin full of water, and you can see Lou just chilling in the background, loving life. I definitely think that this could be part of the huge Kelly riot, and I do strongly believe this is going to happen. Lou and her crew will take over that prison, and they will create the most biggest riot Wentworth has ever seen. It's going to be epic, and of course, I can't talk about Lou Kelly and not talk about this scene. So Lou is climbing the fence at night time, and it looks proper dramatic. Now I do think that Lou might be escaping, but I also think that she might be chasing someone else who's just climbed the fence. Maybe it's going to be Reb's killer, and if it is, nothing is going to stop Lou from catching this bitch, not even a fence. I predict Lou will be in quite a lot of fight scenes this year, but she will also dish out a lot of punishments to people who have crossed her when she's top dog, not just the women though. In this scene here, when Lou is going nuts in Anne's office, this might be the moment where Anne crosses Lou, or it could be Anne telling Lou that she's not allowed to go to Rev's funeral. Either way, everyone is going to pay. Do I think Lou Kelly will be on death's list this year? Well, do you know what, guys? You might be shocked by my answer. I'm going to say no. I don't think she is going to die. Don't get me wrong, I think she will get hurt and maybe, just like Rita, come very close to death. But I think Lou will survive in the end because Lou is a survivor. Either Lou will escape, leaving his storyline open, or she will become top dog, but maybe for the right reasons by the end of the season. But I definitely don't think she's going to die. I can just hear Michelle right now cheering all the way in America. But as for Reb, well, Reb is unfortunately on death's list this year. Dr. Miller. Okay, so Dr. Miller arrived in season 7, and this will be his 3rd season in the show. Now, Dr. Miller seems to be Joan Ferguson's key to freedom. At the end of last year's season, Dr. Miller said in court that he stakes his career on Joan having amnesia, which of course at the time she did. But now Ferguson has her memory back, and Dr. Miller is going to look like a complete fool and maybe even lose his job. Now, we still don't know too much about Dr. Miller's backstory yet. Maybe he has his own secrets and agendas that he wants to keep buried, who knows? But there has to be a reason why the writers have kept him in for so long with no backstory. I do think Ferguson will admit to Dr. Miller that she has her memory back, but she will also point out to him how his job could now be in jeopardy. And I think Dr. Miller will actually keep quiet about Joan getting her memory back in order to save his own career. But this could be a decision that he may end up regretting later on down the line. It wouldn't surprise me that if this big Lou Kelly riot does happen, then Dr. Miller may end up being one of the hostages along with Anne Reynolds. Now, how do I think Dr. Miller's storyline will end? Well, I am going to put Dr. Miller on death's list. I think Dr. Miller will play with fire and get seriously burnt. And I think either Ferguson will kill him or Lou Kelly will kill him, because let's not forget, Lou Kelly wanted him dead last year, so this year she may follow through. Sheila Bausch. Okay, Sheila is a real mystery. She only arrived at the very end of last year, and this is going to be like the second part of her storyline. However, I feel quite let down that she's only going to be in a very small handful of episodes this year. So we've learned that Mari and Sheila are going to team up, but then in this photo, Sheila is with the Freak, so I'm really confused. Is Sheila going to be doing some sort of double dealings? As I previously mentioned in this video, I do think Sheila will end up killing herself after Rev's death. So, Sheila, you are 100% going on my death list. I mean, if you don't kill yourself, and I'm pretty sure Lou Kelly will do the job. But like I said, it's a shame that Sheila's appearance is going to be short-lived. I do think they should have brought Sheila into last year's season much early on. Vera Bennett. Vera. You've been with us from the very start, and you've been given the nickname Vinegar Tits in Season 2. Now, what a journey and what a transformation Vera has been on. Who would have thought all those many seasons ago that that little mousie of an officer would be this now strong, stable mother in this final chapter? Vera has been through it all, and she's even been taken hostage twice, once in Season 3 and another in Season 7. But what do the writers have planned for our Vera this year? Well, I definitely think Vera has already crossed too many lines, breaking too many rules, and Vera really is teetering at the point of no return as far as I'm concerned. Just look at this. Vera is pouring a ton of powder into a drink, which will probably be for Ferguson. Now, I'm not being funny, but whatever that stuff is, it looks like that is more than enough stuff to kill someone. I think Vera has got murder in mind this year, but do you know what? I don't blame her. In one of the trailers, Vera is running into the interview room screaming, "That's my daughter," and it looks like photos of baby Grace that Ferguson has hidden away in a little lockup. Vera is going to come to realise just how close Ferguson came to kidnapping baby Grace, and then it's game on. When I said earlier on that Jake will do anything to protect baby Grace, well, so will Vera. Which is why it wouldn't surprise me if Jake and Vera end up teaming up and working together. I mean, it would make sense, wouldn't it? However, this does run the risk of Vera getting caught and ending up on the wrong side of her own bars, and I really do think this could happen. Let's face it. If Ferguson gets Jake or Will sent to prison, then that will be the end of Will and Jake's storyline, like we'll never see them again. But if Ferguson gets Vera put into prison, that storyline will continue in front of our eyes, which will be fantastic. Ferguson once said that she will be coming for that shiny little crown. Well, if she's unable to do that, then she's gonna have a plan B. She always has a plan B. And what better way to get back at Vera than to get her put into prison with Ferguson? Can you imagine if Vera and Ferguson end up sharing the same unit? I would literally love to see it. Please do it, please do it. Another way Ferguson can hurt Vera is by making false reports to child welfare to get baby Grace taken away. This would actually literally destroy Vera, and this could literally, we'll see Vera flip out. And Vera won't only just cross those lines, but Vera will literally wrap those lines around Ferguson's throat. It's going to be brilliant. I have said in some of my previous videos that maybe Vera will be the one to kill Ferguson in the end, and Vera will end up in teal in those final few moments. Now, I've also heard an alarming rumour doing the rounds that apparently something bad is going to happen to baby Grace while Jake is looking after her. Now, I pray to God that this rumour is not true, because this will literally make me lose my shit. Protect baby Grace at all costs. So, do I think Vera will end up on death's list this year? I am going to say no. I think Vera will be one of the few survivors, and there is going to be a much bigger ending for her character, and once again it will kind of leave one of the storylines open. Joan Ferguson, now then, the biggest villain of them all, the woman who we love to hate, Joan the Freak Ferguson. She arrived in season 2, and this will be her 8th season with us, as she did appear in season 6 in Will's Little Visions, and she also came back at the end of season 7. So if we think about it, we've had Ferguson with us in every season since season 2. But what do the writers have in store for us? Well, after watching that small Behind the Bars documentary that was released ages ago, Pamela Rabe says in her own words, the Freak is back. She is truly back. So even though we've seen that clip of Ferguson dreaming about killing Will, and we've heard Ferguson's voice in the trailer saying that she has urges that she cannot control, I personally think this is just Ferguson playing a game. She knows full well who she is, and she knows who she wants to take revenge on. However, even though she has her memory back, she now also has this freedom bombshell in her lap. So if she even wants to have a chance at freedom at her court hearing, then she's going to have to keep playing the Kath Maxwell card. And I think she will do this whenever she's in the company of staff and inmates, but behind closed doors we will see the real Joan Ferguson. Now, I don't think Ferguson will be able to keep it up for the entire season, and I do think there is a chance, a small chance, that she could get out of prison, and that's when the fun will really begin. Ferguson will start taking her revenge on Jake, Will and Vera, and oh my god, Vera, you really need to lock those doors to protect baby Grace. It's very hard, guys, it really is, to say what's going to happen with Joan's character. We've had loads of trailers, but they haven't revealed very much of Joan. Most of the photos that Joan is in, she's just staring over at someone in the distance, or staring at somebody who we can't see. And nowhere in the trailers do we see Joan in any fight scenes or altercations. So I think the writers really are keeping Ferguson's final story a secret. But the big question is, do I think Ferguson will end up on death's list this year? Well, I am going to say yes. I think Ferguson will die in the final episode, and I think it's going to be huge, epic and unforgettable. Not only that, but we will literally see her die this time, and that will be the final end to her story. I have no idea how it's going to happen, no clue at all. But I do think that Ferguson will be defeated in the very end, and I think Ferguson may even take a few people with her. But Ferguson, you are going on to death's list. So that was my final thoughts and predictions on every single character for this final season. Now, I haven't talked about new character Eve Wilder, only because we know nothing about her, so I literally cannot speculate. All I've heard about Eve Wilder is that she really is a force in that prison, so all I can say is hold on to your hats. Now, do I think that we will get any old faces returning for a cameo? Well, I would love to say yes, but with so much already happening this year, I'm not sure if the writers would have had a chance to squeeze them in. But I would like to hope Boomer gets a letter from Maxine, and then I'd maybe like to think that if Vera does get herself into trouble with the police this year, then maybe she could contact Frankie and Bridget for some help. And that would be a good way to bring them back for a few final episodes, and plus it would be great to see Frankie and Bridget face the Freak one more time. Other than that though, I highly doubt any more faces could return. Of course, you all know that I want B to come back as a ghost or a dream to Annie, but we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But guys, that is all my final thoughts and predictions, so what did you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments box below and give me some of your predictions. Right then guys, we are now at that part of the video for me and Peter to answer some of your Q&As, and we have got quite a lot of questions to get through and they are all amazing, so let's get started. Okay guys, as promised, it's now time for some Q&A, and I have brought in Peter with me for this one. So we're going to try and get through these as quickly as possible because there's a lot of questions to get through. Okay, so Joan X Ferguson, who do you think Joan will kill?
Ooh. Going from the trailers and some of the things you've shown me, I would have said the first one is obviously going to be Reb. I reckon she's going to be the one with her devious mind doing it, framing someone else.
Who else?
Hope she kills Sheila. I don't like Sheila. Hope she kills Sheila.
Anyone else?
I hope she kills Jake as well.
Oh, nasty. Well, I think that Ferguson will probably kill... She could kill Reb. I'm not ruling her out. Don't think she'll kill Sheila. She could kill Jake. She might kill Miles. She might just lose her head and kill Linda Miles. She might kill Ruby.
Yeah.
She might even kill Annie. It's going to be a bloodbath. Okay, next question. Alpha Wolf 11 or Alpha Wolf 11, I'm not sure. Do you think it's possible for Joan to become governor again?
No. With everything, I think that if she does, no one will respect her and she wouldn't last 5 minutes, so I don't think she would ever become.
See, I have to agree with you. I don't think it is possible. Yes, she might get off with her memory loss thing in court, but that doesn't mean that she's going to be able to come back as governor. Because how would that even happen? Because she's meant to be this Kath Maxwell, so that would kind of blow her cover, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Next question, Rides Williams. Do you think the Freak and Lou will die?
I think the very last section would be the Freak being killed. And then I don't think Lou will die. I think she's such a big character. I reckon that it'll end with Freak being killed, Lou is top dog, and it just stops.
I kind of agree with you. I think the Freak may die unless they have an even better way of ending his storyline. But other than that, I think the Freak will just have to die, but you never know. And with Lou, I agree. I think we can't just have everyone die. We've got to have somebody, 1 or 2 or 3 people live, do you know what I mean? Not just on the good side, but on the bad side. And Lou ain't all bad. I just think a lot of people, especially Michelle, if you're watching, Lou is misunderstood. But, like, honestly, like, the thing is, I'll give you a quick example. So you've got Lou Kelly, Judy Bryant, both bad characters in their own right. But we all hate Judy, but we all don't hate Lou. Why is that? Because it's like previous bad characters have had some likability, like Sonia Stevens, even Jacqueline Holt. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think Lou will live and Freaky will die. We agree on that one, yeah? Cool. Liam Michael Griffiths, do you think we need a backstory for Dr. Miller? And how do you want Wentworth to end? Do you want a backstory in Dr. Miller?
I do and I don't. I would like to know more about him and why he wanted to work with women in the prison, but then I don't because I like the suspicion and all of that aspect that leads with him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear his backstory if it's going to play a bigger thing in the season, like he's secretly a bad guy or he's some relation to Ferguson. Yeah, I agree with you. But if it's just like he's just a family man at home or whatever, then... But you never know, because we did find out in one season, I think it was season 7, that he had a sister.
Yeah.
So, and how do you want Wentworth to end? That's a tough one.
Vera in Till.
Vera in Teal. Well, there's going to be a question on that later, isn't there, Peter? How do you want Wentworth to end? Carnage. Just carnage. And I want Rita to survive. And Boomer. Just had to put that in there. Okay, we got Tracy Sevi or Tracy Sevi. One of your favourite characters has to die. Who would you choose? I'd have to choose Ali. Sorry, Ali. Go and be with your baby love B. I would have to choose Ali.
I would have said Ruby.
Yeah, but is she a character that you love?
Yes.
She is she?
She is. Her and Boomer, but I don't want Boomer to die.
Just making sure he's not cheating. But I do love Ali, but if I don't want Rita to die, and I don't want Boomer to die, so that just leaves Ali. And sorry, Ali, I'm going to kick you off to hell to be with B. That was a great question, by the way. We have Jamie Mullin. Who do you think will survive the whole season? Who will be still standing?
I reckon we'll see another side of Boomer, where she becomes, instead of... You've seen her grow throughout the seasons. I think that she'll be one of the last ones standing with Lou at the end.
It would be nice to see them buddy up towards the end. I think Vera will still be around. Whether she'll be an officer or a prisoner is another question. But Vera will still be there. If I had to choose out of any other officer, maybe Jake or Miles. I think Will and Jake might die, I don't know. And Rita has to still be there at the end. And Boomer. I keep forgetting Boomer 100%. She has to survive the end. Okay, that was a great question. So what have we got now? We got Joe Avers. Do you think Boomer will get a happy ending? Yes.
I really do hope so.
I really wanted to.
Yeah, I hope she gets the baby.
If you think about how his storyline was supposed to end at the end of season 7, killing Liz Birdsworth, that was going to be her final thing, and she was going to be stuck in that prison. So let's hope she has some sort of happy ending. I don't know how she'll get a happy ending because she's got a long way to go to get out of prison. I'm hoping that she'll somehow escape and dye her hair and cut it off, shave it or something. We have Yorick Lynch. Do you think Ali will ever forgive Mari Winter, and what do you think she will do if she finds out it was Judy who stabbed her? So, do you think Ali will ever forgive Mari?
I think she will never forgive her, but she'll, depending on how long they live, grow to accept each other. But with the next part of that, I think if they find out Mari may be the one that kills Judy,
maybe
to sort of not repent.
Well, Mari loves Ali.
Yeah,
she's in love with Ali, always has been. But whether if Ali will forgive her is another. I don't think they will. I think they might find some common ground. They nearly did at the end of season 8, part 2, when they sat down and had a chat.
Yeah,
but yeah. And what will Ali do when she finds out it was Judy? Ali will go nuts. Hopefully Rita will pin Judy down. Rita will pin Judy down while Ali pulls out Judy's eyeballs and feeds them to her. Sorry, I just had to say that. He's got a thing about eyeballs. You should have seen him with that Jodie Spiteri scene. Oh, God, where are we? Stuardo Kirby. Do you think Ali will find out that Anne lagged to Lou, and will she get revenge? A lot of Ali questions. I'm loving it. I think Ali will find out. I think she kind of knows, doesn't she? No, she doesn't know.
She doesn't know. I think
Judy and Boomer and Ruby, they know, sort of.
Yeah.
Judy knows, definitely. But they haven't told Ali. They kept a lot from Ali last year, didn't they?
I think that she will find out, And I think that would be the demise of Anne, where either Ali and Lou team up against Anne. But I think that's the down of Anne there, if she does find out.
I personally can't see Lou teaming up with Ali, because I don't think Lou really needs to team up with anyone, but she certainly wouldn't team up with somebody in a wheelchair. Possibly Rita. They put it this way, if Reb dies, well, we know Reb's going to die, and then Ruby dies, her and Rita could become a force, do you know what I mean? And then the officers and Anne Reynolds will really have to watch their backs. Where are we? Gareth Griffiths. Do you think we will see Juicy Lucy return?
I don't think we will, but I would love it if she does.
Same. I mean, did you watch her interview with Sean recently? She said she can't even say that she's going to be in it or not. So you never know. Why couldn't she answer that question? Is she bound by contract? You never know. I'd like to see her come back. Okay, we got Liam X James. First of all, he asks, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad.
I'm good as well. And then he asks, who do you think the last survivors will be?
Boomer. Lou.
Boomer, Lou.
Vera.
Rita, Vera. Can't think of anybody else. I literally think everyone else is going to die. We've got R. O'Connor 066. How do you think Mari Winter's storyline will end? And what will cause Rita and Joan to fight? Okay, how do you think Mari Winter's storyline is going to end?
I reckon she's going to die protecting Ali.
Cool. I think she's going to die protecting someone, but I can't think who. And what will cause Rita and Ferguson to fight, to become enemies?
Ruby dying.
100%.
I reckon there's going to be a thing of Rita thinks Joan's done it. So Rita will go absolutely mental.
Ferguson would probably, do you remember when Ferguson hot-shotted Ali and then told B behind the closed door that she was collateral damage? You could do something similar like that to Rita, but Rita will fucking burst through that door. Okay, we got Parsley Herb. Do you think Rita will become top dog? And we have another user, a lot like Nick, who asks a similar question, saying, will Rita be the final top dog and how will she earn it? So do you think she'll be top dog?
No.
No?
She said that she didn't want it, but I don't think she will be it at all. Or if she is, it'll be for a short period and someone else will take over. It's
interesting you say that. A lot of characters say before they become top dog they don't want it. Yeah, I mean, we'd like to see her as top dog, but is that too predictable for Wentworth? If she is top dog, how will she earn it? She'll probably have to kill Ferguson, which will probably be in the final episode. Yeah. But like I said, it's too predictable for Rita to kill Ferguson and then it ends with her being top dog. I mean, no, it's going to be something we're not going to expect. But I'd like to think that she'll be top dog. Next question. This is from you, Peter Signs. Do you think Vera will end up in Teal? Well, I think there's a really good chance because out of Vera, Will and Jake, what would be the fun in sending Will or Jake to prison? They'll end up in the men's prison. We won't even see them. What would be the point? But if Ferguson wants to reveal that photograph or somehow get Vera into trouble and get her behind bars, then Ferguson can make her life hell. But if Ferguson sends Will and Jake to prison, she's not going to be able to torture them anymore, is she? So there's no point. So I think if there's anyone who could end up in Teal, it'll be Vera. Especially because in that trailer, she's pouring a ton of dust into someone's drink.
She's got the most to lose.
So thank you for the comment, darling. Brandon Level 1. Do you really think this is the end of Wentworth? Unfortunately, Brandon, it's confirmed that this is the end. And we're really lucky because Season 7 was supposed to be the end, but it did get renewed for 20 final episodes, and it gave the writers, directors, the team a chance to end things properly and on a huge scale, which doesn't happen to a lot of TV shows. So unfortunately, for now, this is the end. Oh, we got a question here from our Michelle. Michelle82478. Who is your all-time favourite character, and which character do you hate the most? And also, this was a question asked by bsmith.wentworth as well. So, who is your favourite all-time?
Boomer.
And what character do you hate the most?
Judy. I have to agree with you, Michelle, on that one.
So, my all-time favourite character... Boomer. It's gonna have to be Boomer. There's a few close, not far behind Boomer, but Boomer I think is the one for me. And who do I hate the most overall? I mean, I do hate Judy, same as you, but do I hate her the most out of everyone that's been through that prison? I hate Sean Brody for the siege, but again, he's only in it. There's got to be somebody else. There's got to be somebody else who I hate, like really hate. I can't think. I'm gonna have to go with Judy for now. Yeah. I'm sure it'll come to me later. bsmith.wentworth again. How do you think Ferguson will be defeated or die?
Rita and Lou team up.
Rita and Lou. Kind of agree. Also, I'm not ruling Vera out. Let's say there's an explosion. Say that there is an explosion and Ferguson is hurt. And say she's had a fight just before the explosion. So she's really hurt. She can't get up. She's stuck in the rubble. Vera comes across her, gets a brick and finishes her off. Because she's always saved Ferguson from the hanging. And it was the same as well in the fire. So this time, Vera will just smash her head in. That's what I think. We've got ZA. Whose escape from Wentworth was more impressive? B's escape or Frankie's escape?
B. B's is when you see how far someone's willing to go and how calculated she was to get out.
Have to 100% agree with you on that one. I think B's escape was amazing. I remember when she did escape and we still had another episode to go of season 2, like it broke the internet. I'm sure Twitter went down at one point. It was just crazy. So yeah, B's escape. And we've got Gail Maitland Bayagoini. I'm very sorry, Gail, I can never pronounce that name, but we've got Gail. Who do you think will do most damage in the upcoming season? You've got 3 choices here. Ooh. Joan, Rita or Lou. The most damage. I'm just going to put it out there. I think Lou Kelly will do the most damage out of the 3 of them.
Yeah, I think Rita will come in and she'll have a storyline, but it won't be as big as Lou's one. Jones is obviously just going to be the psychopath aspect, but Lou's going to be definitely the...
I think she's the one who's going to cause the most damage and the carnage. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you now, there's definitely going to be a huge Lou Kelly riot. Definitely. Okay, we're on our last page of questions. So we've got Dominic Target. What do you think will happen in the end? Similar question that we had earlier, but what do you think will happen?
I'm hoping Vera goes till. Boomer survives and gets a happy ending. The freak has been disposed of. And Lou is still fighting strong.
I want there to be carnage. I want the prison to blow to smithereens. And I want to see, all the background characters that we see, the Red Right Hand, all the other characters. I want to see them all flying through the sky after this explosion. I want to see cars in the car park blowing apart. And then I want to see bodies all over the floor. Some are dead, some are alive, some are injured. And they're going to be covered in bricks and dirt. And there's just going to be like orange flare in the background. And there's going to be blood and guts. And then there's going to be a huge fight scene in the midst of all the bodies around the floor. Sorry, I'm getting a bit carried away there. But it's got to be huge and it's got to be something like that. But yeah. At the end of the day, I want Rita and Boomer to still be standing. Okay, we have Krista Farelli. What do you think will happen to Ali and how do you think her story will end? Well, as we know, she's in a wheelchair. So she's going to be like having her own private battle, I should assume.
I don't think she's going to make it all the way through. I reckon about 3/4 of the way through the series, that's when she'll get the demise aspect.
Could be right, because I think I said this in one of my older videos, but B died at the end of season 4, but 4 episodes before her death was the episode where Ferguson drugged B and put her head in the sink. Now, she survived that, so we all must have thought, B, they won't get rid of B, and then 4 episodes later she's dead. So you could be right, Ali may not make it. I like to think that she may walk again before she dies. And then we've got Alien Hoe Bag. Okay, where do you think Lou Kelly is when she is climbing the fence? That's when she's in the trailer.
Oh.
She's in the prison, obviously, but
it hasn't got the barbed wire around the top.
Michelle, we clocked onto that when you discussed that. So yeah, as Michelle said, she's probably climbing into a different part of the prison. And I said, and Michelle said, that she's probably after somebody. Like, I'm convinced that will be the moment when she finds out who killed Reb for real.
Yeah.
And then she'll be chasing, it'll be a fight and it'll be a chase. It'll be very tense as well. So, yeah, somewhere in the prison, but I couldn't tell you where. Okay, Crow.Chris. Who would you like to see as the final top dog? For me, Rita.
Lou.
Ooh. Sad Baby Sagittarius. What are you most excited to see this season? For me, I want to see Rita's fight scenes.
I want to see the demise of Ferguson, the freak, and his reactions.
We may have to try and do a bit of a goggle box and record ourselves watching the episodes. Sorry there, guys. We had a bit of a technicality on our phone, my phone. Anyway, we actually only have one question left. We do. And it is Wentworth for Life. Brilliant name. Do you agree it's too early to end the season on season 9?
Yes and no. If they can finish it as a finish, then I reckon it's fine. If they leave it so it still can be an open aspect to be brought back later, then yeah, it is one of those ones where there's so much potential, but it's at the moment, in my opinion, has run its course of the current situation.
Yeah, I agree. We've had quite a few eras. We've had the B. Smith era, we've had the Kaz era, we've had other little storylines going on, and we've gone through quite a lot of characters in 9 years. I'd like to see a new era, but I feel like this era is finally coming to a close. It's unfortunate that they didn't bring in Lou Kelly and Reb Keane a lot sooner. Maybe an extra season or 2 of them would have been fantastic. Particularly Lou Kelly, but it is what it is, and you never know. In a couple of years, they might come up with an idea and bring Wentworth back 3 or 4 years later, set like 5 years later or something, and you may get some old faces, but some brand new ones, and it could be a new era. So you never know. I'm kind of on the fence with you. I'm 50-50 with it. I mean, I want Wentworth to go on forever. Do you know what I mean? Okay, guys. Well, thank you all for your questions. They were all absolutely amazing. Some really got us thinking, didn't it? So thank you all for your contributions. And thank you all for taking the time out to listen to me and Pete. Hopefully we will do this again, maybe halfway through the season. I'm not promising anything. We may do another Q&A halfway through just to see what came true and what didn't.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, cheers, guys. See you soon. Right then, guys, we're now coming towards the end of this bumper video, but I hope you've all enjoyed. I didn't think this video was going to be as long as it is, but you can blame that on all the extra information that was coming through while I was making this video. I was going to include a behind the scenes footage of what goes into making a video, but I'm going to save that for another time, okay, guys? Now, before I go, I'm going to pop in some bloopers from mine and Peter's Q&A, so if you fancy a little bit of a giggle, then stick around until the very end of this video. But this is just me saying thank you to all of you guys for being an amazing Wentworth community. And don't forget, I will be doing weekly episode reviews as soon as the new season comes out. Okay, guys, well, I've got nothing more to say. Thank you all for sticking around. It's now time for some bloopers.
Oh my god, my foot's gone to sleep.
at one point. It was just crazy. So yeah, bees escape. Crop that out.
Oh my god, my foot's gone to sleep.
But anyway, guys, thank you all for your questions. My mind just gone blank. Anyway, guys, thank you all for your questions. Making me laugh. Contain yourself. Contain yourself. Why are we laughing anyway?
Because your mind went blank.
Okay. Anyway, guys, I can see you in the camera.
I'm not doing anything.
Right, hang on. Let me, I'm gonna have to, not look at the camera because of your face. You're making me laugh.